Greetings in the love and in the light of our infinite prime creator, the divine grid programmer. Namaste, namaskar. This being the further readings within the arcane understanding of the revelations to St. John. This is from the book of Revelations, and I am continuing with chapter 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. This, I believe, with my gnosis, my intuition, I feel strongly resonates in my truth matrix, and I do wish to restate to always not, I'm not presenting this as the truth. This is a truth from within my truth matrix, and I always urge caution, common sense. Essentially, your belly, your hara, which is our dantian, your lower belly is the seat of your emotions, and you will know when something doesn't quite jive with your truth matrix. So I ask that you activate your truth matrix and to always consider these as these asides that I make, commentaries, as just my perspective. And I do feel strongly that this is these verses, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. I believe this is an indication of an astronomical event that will be occurring this Friday. Today's August the 22nd. I believe this Friday is the 26th. But this dragon has been identified. This dragon from Revelations, chapter 20, verse 2, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Satan, synonymous with Saturn in its dual energy form. But I will state this, that I think it's vitally important, starting right now, whomever sees this message and this message resonates with you in any aspect of your truth matrix, your divine sovereign human gnosis, to begin to consider our sun, our galactic sun, and to begin to at least pay attention to it a little bit. If you don't already, I don't know, but I'm going from ground zero here with this heartfelt message. To consider the sun, to understand how important it is for life on this planet. The sun is therapeutical, and it also can be spiritual, a method. There's types of yoga associated to sun gazing, lots of information in the histories and the literatures, the holy writings of all civilizations where the sun has been very significant. In fact, in the Renaissance, if you're familiar with a lot of the art, where there was always this kind of like globe behind individuals, certainly with those being depicted as holy, but this sort of glowing plate circle behind their head. Certainly we know in the Egyptian deities, Sekhmet, Ra, Horus, there's always the red disc that denotes their divinity, and there's a reason for that. And anyway, what I'm getting at is I believe that this serpent, this Satan, by way of Andromedian Dracos, Draco negative ET faction from the Andromedan galaxy, they have a plan for our sun, which will be implemented this Friday, the 26th. And so what I'm trying to communicate is to begin right now, to create a rapport with our sun, with this galactic sun, which is so important with the in-streaming of the cleansing light photons and codes that are coming for our awakening, for our mass ascension and awakening, which also is connected with Alcyon, the great central galactic sun. So anyway, this is further readings in the arcane understandings of Revelations to St. John. And so as of course, the dragon and the devil, the whore, Babylon, all these are symbolic, but I want you to really think of this message as it comes through, and as I read and I, refer to Satan or a roadblock, any of these symbols that come from within this text, which is very evocative, a very, poetic rendered language, this imagery, verbal, linguistic imagery within the text of Revelation. Think about our sun being attacked, because that's essentially what's going to happen this Friday by the draconian contingent of the negative ET faction. They've received reinforcements or new warriors, what have you, from Andromedan galaxy that are setting up shop on Mars, our planet Mars in our solar system, for a concerted attack on our sun to alter the archetype, the types of energies that are coming from it that will impact our ability as light workers, as star seeds, as humans on the path to ascension, aspirants to the fifth dimension, to be able to quiet the monkey mind, the monkey chatter mind, the ego mind, to for those of us who've been able to see through the illusions of the ego, their purpose, the Alpha Draconians from Andromedian who are setting up shop to attack our sun this Friday are seeking to adjust the energies and the effect of the sun that will gravely impact our ability to see through the illusions of the ego mind, to quiet the ego mind, to separate from the ego mind and realize that just because that is the illusion and the thinking and the thoughts that are going, that's not what we identify with. We are learning in meditation and any of these spiritual paths that start with meditation and quieting the mind and seeing through the illusions of the mind and seeing through how the illusions of the ego keep us trapped in the third dimension. That is what is important to explore and connect back to source. So anyway, the dragon, the Draco from Andromeda, attacking our sun. Connect with our sun, and certainly on the 26th, I'm going to repeat it every time I make a video, but the 26th and the 27th of this month, be prepared, set aside some time to at least meditate and send light and love to the sun. So, and cast him into the bottomless pit. And Satan bound him 1,000 years and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. The devil, slanderous, just contentious, ego, arguing and debating and stuff, not from love, astronomically, this would be the planet moving out into its orbit, where it is cut off and its energy influences on Earth are lessened till it moves back into the position again. Then it will affect the Earth's electromagnetic fields. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Now keep in mind, this, if you haven't seen any of these videos, this arcane understanding of the revelations to St. John, this is highly symbolic. I don't want to trigger anybody's religious trauma syndrome when they hear the word Jesus and God and such. This is a highly esoteric rendering and understanding. This is the arcane understanding of the book of Revelation. So that verse that I just read, which came from chapter 20, verse 4, think about it like John saw the thrones and those as gods sitting thereon, and they had judgment in their hands. Metaphysically, this would be the judges of karma, whereby they keep the law of katanishya, in balance against the dragon, or planetary configurations in balance. And John saw the souls of those that were killed for witnessing Jesus the Christ and God Melchizedek, who had not worshipped the beast, nor its image, nor received a mark of it on their foreheads or hands, and they lived in communion with Christ for 1,000 years. The second coming of Christ of Jesus, however you refer to it, is the coming from within your own empowerment. The Christ arisen within your own divine human matrix, where you're connected to Source and are a sovereign divine human. But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. And this is the first resurrection. So this also, but those that had not awakened their chakras, who had not enlightened themselves, the dead, as it were, those chakras that are not activated and living, if are only kind of like the first three chakras and you haven't gone up to those higher rays, the blue, violet, indigo rays, those energies, but dead, as it were. We're not reincarnated until the 1,000 years had passed. This is the first resurrection in the evolutionary sense for the enlightened ones. No longer are under the karmic law of rebirth in the evolutionary sense. Blessed and holy is he. So yes, in this, if you haven't watched any of these videos, the 7 churches, synonymous with the 7 chakras, this all correlates to esoteric, arcane understandings from beginning in the Eastern traditions, and it blends in this spiritual gnosis as John revealed it in this book, highly symbolic, and it's not the typical revelation renderings that you have heard and been traumatized with by organized religion, okay? So I want you, if you've just seen these videos for the first time, try to weave through perhaps any first impressions, because I'm not trying to come off as Reverend Billy Graham or such. Not that there's anything wrong, not speaking to anything against that, but this is a different understanding of these texts. And it's furthermore that Jesus in the Bible in its entirety is highly coded. Jesus spoke in parables. He did not speak in anything but parables to the masses in the books, and even to his immediate companions. There was various levels of dispensation of revelation. He spoke, and apparently Thomas, the apostle Thomas, was one where he just gave it to him straight. And when the other apostles asked him what Jesus the Christ had told him, when he pulled him aside, Thomas said, you would, if I told you what the Master has revealed, you would seek to kill me. And anyway, blessed and holy are those that have awakened to the first resurrection, and such the second death has no power over them, the ego death. They will reign 1,000 years with Christ, being pure and good as priests of God. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. So then these are galactic planetary movements. So once the 1,000-year cycle is complete, Saturn will reappear in a specific planetary alignment. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog, Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And Saturn's karma, will deceive the nations of the 4 quarters of earth, Gog and Magog, names which are unclear in theological and metaphysical circles, to gather the masses to battle, their number being like the sands of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city, and fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. So this is all this kind of, when you hear fire came down from God out of heaven, these are geophysical, astrological, astronomical workings in the heavens, and how they will impact our planet. And so then, so keep these in mind. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. And the slanders that deceived them were cast into the burning lake, where the beast, organized religion, and the false prophet are and will be tormented day and night forever. The beast and the false prophet, reincarnation takes into account yugas, the Kali Yuga, which we're in right now. These are very long astronomical timelines, and I do believe we're right at the end of the Kali Yuga, on the precipice of the next Satya Yuga, the golden, is when we get down through this and finish out this darkness. Our future is golden, the next golden age. Hang in there, do your meditation, send love and light to the sun. Every day, connect with it, leave food out for the animals. Set a portion of your food each time for the little squirrels, the ants even, feed them, birds, of course. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. And the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. Now comes the judgment, as John sees all souls that had been held in limbo stand before the cosmic hierarchy, where the books of life were opened, and the dead were judged according to their works, as is imprinted on the astral path. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their work. So this includes mammals that have souls as well. Yes, animals have souls. Everything is alive in this reality. Everything is alive. But animals have souls, and souls are in process of transmigration. Each was judged according to their soul's works and inscribed in the book of life. And death and hell were cast in the lake of fire. This is the second death. And this is being the second death, at which point the souls that had not been enlightened and transcended the first death of the ego, dying to your ego, connecting back to source. You have to, when you die, the first death is disconnecting from the digital matrix, realizing that the truth and all that's not in your smartphones and what metaverse is and all that big tech is telling people they're the beast. So the death of the ego, were extinguished as soul and processed back into the energy center, your chakras, unless their works merited them further incarnations. This is the cosmic house cleaning. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Or whoever that was not found to be written in the book of life was dissolved into the illuminated void. In fact, when you meditate and you get beyond that chattering monkey mind, you still that mind, this illuminated void, it takes like, at least 20 minutes or so, but if you know how to alter your brain waves, you can get there much faster. That's parts of the techniques of spiritual ecstasy and such, being an alchemist, knowing how to have control over your own energies. But this illuminated void is what connects you back into source, and this still small voice, the knowledge, the communications from the divine matrix become apparent. When that illuminated void is the alternative, is the path. That is the path to head to the illuminated void, where Shiva, the fires of Shiva. Shiva is a Hindu word, and its etymology, she, that, va, not, that which is not. It's, so the big blue guy with the 2 earrings and the long hair and the cobra on his, that is symbolic, poetic renderings of that deity, that energy. But essentially what Shiva represents, and what it literally, under the gnosis of Shiva, is a type of negation of the ego. And in fact, in my meditations and in my workings with Sadhguru, when I activated my Udana Pranayama, it was literally in my third eye, there was this blazing fire that melted, it completely my ego and I merged into that bliss, and it was tears coming down my eyes. And this was months after my Kundalini activation through the crown. So this is all the spiritual technology that we are inheritors of once we take this as reality and begin to work with it. The metaverse and all this virtual goggle stuff, that's an approximation. That is a weak, demonic, pale imitation of the true omniverse that we are all inheritors of with our divinely executed 12-strand DNA, the way we were designed. So anyway, that was readings from chapter 20 in the arcane or book of Revelations, but more of an arcane treatment and understanding. But seriously, every day, try to connect in your own way with the sun, with the ultimate goal on the 26th of this month, Friday, to set aside some time to send love and light, because there's the negative ET forces are still trying to jack with our timelines, and they're wanting to tamper with our sun to where it makes it much more difficult to disconnect from the ego illusion, the digital matrix, all that. So anything you can do to empower yourself, get out in nature, connect with animals. Definitely, if you're eating a sandwich and rather than take that last bite of your sandwich, leave a little bit for the little critters and whatnot. And don't step on ants. Everything is alive. Everything is alive. Try to see that this is all one beautiful golden energy of source, expressing itself from the minutest creatures, and even the trees, and everything is alive. Everything is alive. And love our brothers, but it's hard to as light workers but as light warriors even, it's not really so much turn the other cheek when we're encountered with when I get energy readings from contentious people, and I immediately know they're just nothing but about wanting to try to drag you into their darkness. When Jesus said turn the other cheek, he didn't mean to be passive and accept these attacks. What he meant was turn away from darkness, turn away from the darkness. So if you encounter that, I'm not advocating for engaging with the darkness, but don't allow yourself to be victimized by it. And however you choose to do that is through your own personal gnosis and your own sovereign divine human matrix, but the important thing is to always maintain your heart energy matrix, the love, all energies, that any interactions we have with things, it's always best to have them arise from within the love, the unconditional pool of love that is connected to source, and please give it to the sun, because it's critical. And so we'll have more on that a little bit later. But anyway, I hope this message finds you well. Namaste. Namaskaram.